Anyway, I'll be discussing few things about the rural governance in Odisha. When I talk about rural governance in Odisha, we need to explore what is rural Odisha. When my governance is there, I limited it to rural areas. To be more precise, it is rural local bodies. And during this 1 hour, 30 minutes discussion interaction with you, I'll may continue for a 1 hour, and 30 minutes will make it for interaction. It would be better if you have some doubts or clarification of my presentation. At any point of time, you can raise your voice and or raise your hands or raise digitally your voice and hands so that we can discuss on this issue. But more important is that why exactly I wanted to know each one of you, because one of the major challenges in digital, which I have been observing at my home with my relations and their kids, they really enjoy this digital platform. Simply by enjoying staying at home, and that way you have all have been arrested to SIRD hostel, and you have very limited opportunity. But anyway, so this is the reason I wanted to connect myself with each one of you, so that we know each other and our interaction, our rapport could be much more better. Anyway, so many of you are accepting maybe 7 to 8 people. Rest are from the other planet, in the sense beyond Odisha. So knowing governance in Odisha is a little difficult for you. And more so over, I remember in 2006 when I was working with the CAPAT, one of the institute of the Government of India, where I was a regional director for 5 states. I had this same scheme, YP scheme. And I remember I got used to get a YP from the eastern part of the country to the various projects across the Ministry of RD. And that way, during that time, once the YPs are been recruited to the CAPAT, they are been given 1 month induction or orientation training program either at the Indian Institute of Public Administration, New Delhi, or some other institute. I remember 2006, for the first time, I had the arrangement of taking the YP induction out of in IIPA control to the this particular Odisha Institute Kids KSRM. So that is how I could manage to have 3 month, 3 induction training program for YPs way back in 2006, 2007 and 2008. Anyway, YPs have always been very dear to me. Reason being, when I started my career in CAPAT, interestingly, it is always one will love to work with the young people because they are quite open. They are unlike the other people. They have more plasticity in their vision, approach, and attitude. And I remember I never hardly interact with my YPs who were posted with me, and they were one of the wonderful team I have ever had my 30 years of journey of rural development, whether working with the UNDP or working with the SIRD or NIRD or with the Government of India. That was 2006 to 2008. These 2 years was a great time for me because I always feel young working with these young professionals. So that's a personal note. I am making a tribute to you people, YPs. And now we'll come and discuss more on the governance in Odisha. So Odisha, you know, we have 30 districts and we have 314 blocks and we have 114 urban local bodies, which means the corporation, municipalities, as well as the NSCs. And we have 6,798 Gram Panchayat, which is known as the rural local bodies. 6,700. I have shared my presentation with you people. I hope that could be much used to you. And that's a presentation can give you the entire holistic idea about the governance. I'll go by the presentation, but presentation I'll be discussing much more beyond the presentation. So presentation is just to organize my discussion but you can you are at liberty to discuss about the other things. So knowing about the rural governance, when I talk about rural governance, go next. It's a PDF file. You have to, hi. Yeah, no, previous. Yeah, next. Yeah. So my presentation will be on part A and part B, so that you can do it. I can look at the part A and part B. First, I would be making you more conversant what was the rationale of governance in India, and that too more about the panchayat governance in India. Because always I believe that anybody whosoever in a learning mode, unless until he or she is not convinced about the rationale behind the discussion, it is very difficult to appreciate the discussion, or it hardly becomes it's like taking something one time. I look at that. Yeah, fine. The question is that I always believe that having a strong conviction of a particular subject is much more important than in knowing about the subject, because unless until you don't believe and you don't have the rational that no, it is right, we need to know that why governance is there and what was really the necessity of rural governance or panchayati raj governance. So I'll be in part A, I'll be building the what is the rationale behind panchayati raj governance in India and also in Odisha, and how this panchayati raj governance or rural governance over the years has evolved into an institutional structure, evolved into an have succeeded in building an rural ecosystem, or succeeded in building an rural climate, political climate or governance climate for the different welfare and development programs. And moreover, I'll get you exposed to what is the 73rd constitutional amendment, which is considered to be one of the milestone, or it's like a Magna Carta in the field of rural governance. Then also I will get you exposed to Panchayati Raj institutions in India, as well as how many Panchayati Raj, how is the numbers game. This especially the numbers game, as well as the architecture about knowing about the India, as well as Odisha in specific. Then also I will give you the hints relating to knowing the Panchayati Raj and drinking water department in Odisha and its mandate with special reference to rural governance. And lastly, in part A, I'll let you know about the Odisha. We have that 3-tier governance system: Gram Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti, Jila Parishad. So at the village level, it is Gram Panchayat. At the block level, intermediate level, it is the Panchayat Samiti. And also at the district level, we have this Jila Parishad. And part B of my presentation will be about sharing with you what is exactly the platform where the PR and DW department is working, how vertically, horizontally we have been working with the schemes, and what are the challenges and also the opportunity for you to excel as a rural development functionaries, or excel as a manager in the development, or facilitator, or then catalyst of change in the rural areas. So when I talk about rural governance, two things always matter to me. This is the next. To start with, the two things always matters to me. I'll tell you, these are the two gentlemen. I don't think you might be knowing from the picture itself, Gandhi, that India lives in villages. And this is the gentleman who really talked about the, governance and a need for rural governance in the country. So that is why the quote to unquote that independence must begin at the bottom line, and Panchayat India lives in villages. This is one of the very sermoning statement of Gandhi, which decides the entire rural architecture as well as the rural ecosystem in the India in the post-independence time. And besides that, I'll failing in my duty to not to quote in Odisha context the contribution of Mr. Biju Patnaik, the father of the present Chief Minister, Honorable Chief Minister Biju Patnaik. So he has been one of the very stalwart or a pioneering personality or a advocate in the field of rural governance, which he way back in 1960s, he envisages as architecture which could get the light of the day in 1993 in the shape of 73rd Constitutional Amendment. So Mr. Biju Patnaik used to be considered as a statesman, as a visionary who could foresee that unless until we don't correct our rural governance structure or the architecture or the climate, then we cannot have the development in true spirit, in development in the right proportion. That is the way these two gentlemen always holds good, they have been source to strength of rural governance in India. So why Panchayati Raj? Let's build up two things. Why Panchayati Raj? The rationale. These are all these points. I don't much contribute, restrict to these points. Rather, I feel I can talk to you more extempore. So this presentation is just to guide my thought process. So when I talk about the Panchayati Raj, if you look into the federal structure of the country, we have two systems. One is at the union government and at the state level, the state government. But much debate took place during the Constituent Assembly from 1949 to 1950. 1950 for last 49 to 1950. You can say Constituent Assembly has its function from 1945 onwards till 1950. So 5 years, lot of debate was held. What should be the ecosystem of free India? Politically, economically, socially, all these things. So a lot of debates are there. And in that debate, finally, all the architect of constituents, our Indian constitution, they come to one point that, yes, India lives in villages and we have to think of the institutionalize the rural governance in India. Panchayat is nothing new to the country. Panchayat was never nothing new to the any place, because from Vedic period onwards, you know that Pancha Parameswar concept was there. There are 5 important people who used to take best decision about the villages. If at all there is differences of opinion or feud or conflict or jhagda, that is how you see the. So there was nothing new about the Panchayati Raj. Panchayat was there since the Vedic time. Even it was during the medieval India, then also the colonial India, as well during even the Mughal time, and also in colonial India. So it was nothing new, but there was no institutional arrangement of governance. That is the reason why the Constituent Assembly took a view that if at all India need to prosper, then we should have Panchayati Raj or rural governance architecture. So what should be the rural governance architecture? So they decided that it should to be a decentralized governance. So that's the reason why in the year 1950s, 651, they decided to go for the, 52 to be very precise, they decided to, the government of India decided in the Free India, decided to have the community development program. So CD program was introduced. Then in 1953, under the CD program, to carry forward the goals of the mandate of the CD program, community development program, they have national extension system. We say the NES, National Extension System. Under this NES, whatever the development cadre functionaries you find, whether at the GP level or a village level or the block level or even the district level, all these entire large army of development functionaries were created. Entire large army of development functionaries. For example, at the VLW, village level worker, village agriculture worker, all extension, because they decided that if at all the social welfare program as well as the development program is required to reach out the people, then somebody should be the carrier, the via media. So this is the reason why the international extension system NES scheme was introduced, under which the cadre of development functionaries were recruited and engaged in the field. Then, but then time they decided first tried with the community development program, and formally the panchayat was there, but informally panchayat was there, but there was not a formal structure. Then when this debate took place, then very often in 1954-55, they had many review, parliamentary committee review, then policy review, policy appraisal. Then they decided, no, we need to go for in a very systematic way, the rural governance ecosystem. So that's the reason why Panchayat Raj, when we speak about why Panchayat Raj, the very logic is that it promotes the people's participation in governance and rural development, because what was the feel of the policy maker? The voices of the people are to be heard. But voices of people, if somebody is in the last mile post, if he shouts with the digital world, somebody can, hear it. But even with a physical distance of 50 meters, one will not able to listen, heard what he is saying. So in what is important, India was mostly a poor country. Let's agree, we are poor. As on date, we are also poor. We are poor in many ways. So when I talk about poor, I mean poorness in all our forms. And this poverty is not only to the poverty in economic sense, it's poverty in many senses. And more important, more triggering poverty is, striking poverty is the poverty in political poverty. So question here is that, though when somebody is poor economically, he is poor also in all respect. Access to the resources, any resources, decision making, anything. Entitlement, anything, right based approach or entitlement. He's poor means he is poor, he's finished, he's a poor person. I'm very ultra in my thinking. So that's the reason why the voices of poor and the choices of the poor, and they constitute the 70% of population in rural India. Am I right or not? They are never heard. Their voices has never been heard. Their choices have never been respected. So these voices and choices of poor people, it is to be heard. Then we have to give them a platform. And what is that platform is Panchayat Raj. So my way of looking Panchayat Raj, it is an institutional arrangement to give voice to voiceless, to give choice to choiceless. This is the very easy way I used to understand governance. If at all rural governance, it is nothing but a platform giving voice to voiceless, choice to choiceless, because these poor people, vulnerable people, excluded people get an opportunity in the decision making affecting their life as well as livelihood. I have strong belief. If you also believe that, then you can believe on yes. लोग बोलते हैं कि कुछ नहीं होता है, नहीं बहुत कुछ होता है, हमारे नजरिया में थोड़ा कमी है, हमारी नजरिया में थोड़ी कमी है, और we are orientation is somehow different. Our vision is maybe impaired. We are little impaired in rightly looking at the things. So my point is that all this theory I don't like to teach you. These are you know all these things that it is provides responsive. Why I tell you? एक बार voice को voiceless को voice मिल जाता है, choice को choiceless को choice रखने का उम्मीद होता है, तो responsive administration अपना खुद आ जाता है. Am I right or not? आप उसी साइड ये पार्टिसिपेटरी डेमोक्रेसी, क्योंकि मेरा वॉइस को आप रेस्पेक्ट दे रहे हो, मेरे चॉइस को आप रेस्पेक्ट दे रहे हो, ये तो पार्टिसिपेटिव डेमोक्रेसी है. तो पंचायती राज इज नथिंग बट एन पार्टिसिपेटिव डेमोक्रेसी. देन मेरे वॉइस चॉइस को आप रेस्पेक्ट दे रहे हो, तो देन आई एम पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन द प्लान्स फॉर द डेवलपमेंट एंड सोशल जस्टिस. Then after I'm been assured of my participation in economic development and social justice for the people around which, or the places in which where I live in. So, and more importantly, we have some institutional arrangement. Gram Sabha, Ward Sabha. In Odisha, you have something special, Palli Sabha. I'll tell you all this. Then Panchayati Raj, why Panchayati Raj? Because it gives us a very strong sense of we feeling. Today I was going through a report in the newspaper. The panchayat are much more better managed in COVID response mechanism in the urban areas. Maybe there is some stigma which is running high in the villages, but that stigma is no lesser even in the urban area among the highest educated group of people. And that can be best judged from the apartment. So education is not a handicap or not a very wonderful enabling factor to become rich or poor. So this is the reason I have out of these 10-12 points, what I want to make a point, Panchayati Raj, if you believe strongly that it is a platform, it can give voice to voiceless, choice to choiceless, then you understand what is Panchayati Raj, what is the rural governance. So going next to the things, if you look into the history of evolution of Panchayati Raj, what I was talking to you, we have series of committee. One of the most important committee is Balwant Rai Mehta committee. So after the community development program, NES, then Balwant Rai Mehta committee, there are 21 committee which has been constituted in between 1957 to 1992, which decides about the center-state relationship as well as the Panchayati Raj or local governance relationship, sharing of taxes, sharing of revenue, strengthening the governance. Lot of committee, but few important committee which I mean, first is the Balwant Rai Mehta committee. So second, that was the 1957, which first time for a prescribed, suggested to the parliament and the country adopted it. From 2nd October 1959, we have this institutional arrangement of Panchayati Raj system. For the first time, you introduce Government of India. In Rajasthan state, there is a district named as Nagaur. So in that Nagaur on 2nd October on Gandhi Jayanti day, for the first time in the history of country, the Panchayati Raj system as a formal structure was introduced. And Odisha is one of the pioneering state to adopt three-tier system way back in 1961. Way back in 1961. So that is how the Panchayati Raj system, and for the first time Balwant Rai Mehta committee recommended that there should be governance below the district, below the state. So that is how the district governance, block governance and panchayat governance comes. And these three-tier system used to be known as rural governance architecture. Then also GBK Rao committee was there, LM Singhvi committee were there. There were a lot of good number of committee. But all these committee, they had good number of time, quite appraisal of the ongoing system. And it was a journey of ups and downs. If you look since 1957 to 1992, the journey was sometime it is like it's like Corona. Sometimes picking the peak and sometimes thinking that we are next day not there, as if the world has fallen on our part. The question is that beautifully this system, it has peaks where the low state. And I'll come to the more important thing before I go to the Panchayati Raj in details. Tell me somebody whether this Panchayati Raj governance or Panchayati Raj is in state list or union list or in concurrent list. Can anybody tell me? Not from this list, from other place, those who are listening. You can unmute one or two mic.
Then is state list.
It is in state list. Wonderful. Who is he? Ronak. Am I right? Who answered it? State list?
Ronak sir.
No, Ronak. Very. आपने रौनक ला दिया पूरा discussion में. You are with me. Thank you. So it is in state list. When it's something subject is in state list, the government of India cannot to take a call. Yeah, you can unmute the others mic. So the government of India cannot force it. It is left to the state legislature to decide क्या होना है. Are you getting my point? It is left to the state legislature to take a call. It is not the union government can suggest it, frame it, but implementation is left to the state government. So Panchayat Raj is a state subject. So those states who have a strong belief in local governance or devolving power to the more power from the state level to down below level, those states are more dynamic states where the Panchayati Raj is rich. Those states who believes that no, power is something which need to be with the state, then it is rural governance architecture climate will be not that healthy. This is evident from two states. I'll give you example, which is wonderfully the governance system is good. Undoubtedly Kerala, followed by West Bengal, followed by Tripura, and to some extent the southern states like Karnataka. Then in northern place, in northern India, maybe the central India you can bank on Madhya Pradesh, undivided Madhya Pradesh. Then western part it could be Rajasthan and Maharashtra. Northern India hardly any states have ever have any impression left in the field of governance in rural. Because the UP, Bihar, इसका political climate governance, rural governance से ज़्यादा अलग होता है. So my point is that it is the state to take a call. So these are the committee. Then in 1989, Rajiv Gandhi, one of the our wonderful prime minister, he was debating much more on the Panchayati Raj. He brought 64th amendment bill. It was passed in Lok Sabha, but it could not get the light of the day in the Rajya Sabha. And ultimately, the 64th amendment bill draft amendment bill could not be clear. But later on, Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister. He brought this 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, and finally it came into existence. It was clear in 1992, and it came into existence in 1992, 24th April 1992. So that was the beginning of the formal local rural governance in India. 24th April 1992. From that day, for the first time ever in the country, by virtue of amendment of Indian Constitution, the formal three-tier system was prescribed by the government of India, and again it was left to the state to take three-tier or two-tier. It was only so many states decided to have three-tier, barring 6 scheduled states like your Nagaland, Mizoram, the 6 scheduled state. Rest other they decided to go for, but the architecture is different. Somewhere the Sarpanch is elected for 2 years. Somewhere the Sarpanch is elected for 2 years, but his tenure, Panchayat is election for 5 years, but tenure of Sarpanch or intermediate Panchayat chairman, even the Jila Parishad for 2 years. Somewhere it is for 5 years. Karnataka is the right example. 2 years. It is now recently amended. So these are the 1992 के बाद में फिर और एक debate आया. What was the development was becoming more aggressive. In 1990, you say the RBA, right-based approach to development came. You see the more larger thrust was on community development, and more larger thrust was group participation or larger group participation, and more was focused on the concept of empowerment, entitlement. 90 decade was the beginning. So 1995 को फिर डिबेट हुआ पॉलिटिकल सर्कल में, एकेडमिक सर्कल में. The 73rd constitutional amendment is not good for tribal area, scheduled area, tribal area, because in tribal area, if you have a very table appraisal of their succession and their since till 1990, 2002, I can tell you, you will find even in Odisha, in other states, in tribal dominated places, non-tribal is a Sarpanch or the intermediate Panchayat chairperson or the Jila Parishad president. Tribal hardly get any space because non-tribal are always smarter people. They know how best to rule and ruin and outsmart others. I can put it in that way. So Lot of debate was there in parliament and at the policy level, at the research institute and the universities. No, we need to relook at the 73rd constitutional amendment. The governance which is given prescribed under the 73rd constitutional amendment may not be that absorbing for the, tribal areas. That is the reason why they constituted another committee, which is known as Dilip Singh Bhuria Committee. It's a Bhuria Committee. In 1995, Bhuria Committee was constituted, and they were given the terms of reference to study what could be the new or any other changes in the governance structure, especially for the tribal area. So, 1996 on December 27, there came the Bhuria Commission report. That was the last date. So, they recommended that no, Panchayat in tribal area, in 5th schedule area, in scheduled area, Panchayat has to given some additional power than the non-scheduled area. So, whatever the power is given to a Sarpanch in Koraput district or Sundargarh district or in Navarangpur district, same power is not with the Sarpanch with the coastal districts. We have 13 tribal districts in Odisha, and there are 11 states in India where tribal population is more than 50% of the area. More than 50% of that geographical area of rural governance. So those panchayat or the district where there is more than 50% of tribal population, PESA, Panchayat extension to scheduled area, will come into force. So that is why PESA came into force in 1996. So this is another way of rural governance. And when I talk about rural governance, it means the plain area as well as CSP, TSP, some tribal soft plan area. So that is, we say, tribal populated districts. So constitutional provisions, 243G, where it says that what I was talking to you, it is left to the state government. Subject to the provisions of the constitution, the legislature of a state may, you see the word, may, by law, endow the panchayat with such powers and authority and may be necessary to enable them to function as institution of self-government, and such law may contain the provisions of devolution of power and a responsibility upon the panchayat at appropriate level. At appropriate level. We have 3 levels, na? Then appropriate level, subject to such condition as they may specified therein by the state government, specified therein by the state legislature, with respect to what important for panchayat? The preparation of plans for economic development and social justice. Second, the implementation of schemes for the economic development and social justice as given to them under the 11th schedule. So, panchayat as a formal institution, as a formal governance structure, pattern, ecosystem came into existence with the 1973rd Constitutional Amendment Act. So from that, we have a different rural governance architecture or ecosystem. What is that? I'll tell you. These are all constitutional provisions which you can later on look. Go to 73rd. What is that 73rd? Many people might be knowing it. I'm simply refreshing. This presentation is with you also. That for the first time, the constitution was made 3-tier system. You cannot go for 4-tier, but you can go for 2-tier. But you cannot go for 4-tier. So 3-tier means Jila Parishad. In case of Odisha, Jila Parishad, Panchayat Samiti. Our blocks are in colloquial governance structure known as Panchayat Samiti. Then Gram Panchayat at the village level. Then composition of Panchayat, for the first time, direct election to all seats except the chairperson at the district and block level. Even Sarpanch is directly elected. Got my point? Earlier Sarpanch used to get elected indirectly. Now Sarpanch is directly elected. So except the Jila Parishad chairperson and the Panchayat Samiti chairperson, they have been elected by the members, rest are the direct election. Then for 5 years, yes, then reservation and rotation of seats in favor of SC, ST, OBC and women. Fine, you know, we have now in Odisha, what is the percentage of reservation in Panchayati Raj? 33, it is 50. 1992 onwards, it is 50. Sorry, 2012, it is 50. We have analysis to, here it is of 73. But the state government decides it. So in case of Odisha, it is now 50% since 2012. Then duration of for the first time they decided there should be something below the panchayat. First time, something below the panchayat. Because panchayat is what? Sarpanch. Panchayat is equivalent to sarpanch, na? Because it is sarpanch centric. No, they said that no. It is not sarpanch to take a call. Sarpanch is the executive authority of the panchayat. But Gram Sabha is the deciding authority. He will execute. So for in 73rd constitutional amendment, the institution of Gram Sabha was evolved. Gram Sabha means where the bona fide voter of that panchayat meet and decide about the plans and programs and also for the economic development and social justice. Clear? Is it clear or not? So Gram Sabha constituted. Then duration of panchayat. For the first time it was made 5 years. Earlier what he used to say, suppose Vijay is elected as the sarpanch and I am elected. Next year the Odisha 5,000 panchayats were there being elected during the, for example, during some other political party time, chief minister was somebody else. Now I got elected hypothetically, like Anil Kapoor Nayak story. One day chief minister, I don't like those people who have been there elected prior to me. I decided that ki no, isko hata do, mera bande ko aane do. So that was now earlier happening prior to 92. Meri marji. मेरे को आपका Mario Puja's cinema देखते हो Godfather. I don't like your face, I'll kill you. I don't like your smile, I'll see that your face is disfigured. That's the Mario Puja concept of Godfather. My point is that earlier the political governance was like that. But for the first time after 92, the duration of panchayat election was binding. Constitutionally, it was made mandatory that if I am elected Saroj Das as Sarpanch, I'll complete 5 years. If I die during my period, panchayat will not be dissolved. The post of Sarpanch, if Vijay is elected, suppose I die on 3rd years of my tenure, Vijay is elected, Vijay will continue for 2 years, not for 5 years. And suppose I have been elected in 70, for example, 92, 2002, a particular party came to the power. And election was made to the panchayat in 2001, and some other party was holding power to it. What was earlier to 1992? They dissolved the panchayat raj system. Again, they go for the election. So that was ruled out first time. No, anybody whosoever is elected for 5 years. No, the constitution or any parliament cannot dissolve them before they complete the tenure of 5 years. Then devolution of power. They say that 11th schedule as per the directive principles of state policy 243G, whatever they are in 11th schedule 29 items, they were supposed to be devolved to the Panchayat Raj institution because they handle more about the governance at the village level, more about the program of economic development and social justice at the. And further, there are 2 commissions were elected. One is the State Finance Commission. So earlier we have the Finance Commission of Government of India. Now the 73rd Constitutional Amendment, they said that sharing of taxes, devolution, when some devolution takes place in case of your function, functionaries and fund. Fund is critical. Fund means paisa. So how the taxes should be shared, how the revenue should be shared, what should be the devolution grant, what should be the assignment grant, what should be the development grant and devolution grant or assignment grant. Who will decide it? So a commission was constituted. So that is known as the State Finance Commission. Every state has to have a State Finance Commission which will study the tax sharing, revenue sharing and financial health of Panchayati Raj institution with a recommendation to the state government for the devolution of fund. Along with that, earlier there was one election commission which was taking care of state election, union election as well as panchayat election. No, they say that panchayati and urban body election, one has two different election commission. So they constituted a election commission. And another salient feature of this 73rd constitutional amendment is that ownership of all the officials working under you, the control over the officials working under you. So these are the salient features of 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. And also, if you look into the 74th Constitutional Amendment, there was regarding the planning. So that spoke about that at the district level, there has to be district planning committee. In Odisha, we have also district planning committee. So which will decide about the district plan, both comprising of rural local bodies as well as urban local bodies. I mean, panchayat as well as the municipality or corporation or the NSC as well as the intermediate panchayat, Jila Parishad as well as Gram Panchayat. So that is a. Then these are the 29 sectors in the 11th schedule. Just for your next. Yeah. If you look into the entire history, आज के डेट में इंडिया में we have around 2,62,000 Panchayati Raj institution cutting across, across all the 26 states in the country. And we have 2,55,576 Gram Panchayat. And we have 6,354 blocks. And we have 617 districts. This is the source I have taken from the Government of India document. It's nothing like my source. So my point is here, if you look at your free time to know about the different indexes are there, criteria is there where I have tried to map this one. So you can know about, and interestingly, we have 14.39 lakhs women PRI member out of 32 lakhs PRI members. Because many states, it is not 30%. Many states, it is not 50%, it is still in 30%. There are maybe 14 states where there is more 50%. Rest other states, it is again in 30%. Yeah. If you look into the PESA, which I was talking to you, if you look into the PESA, fine. If you look into the PESA, you can say, look that these are the PESA states. If you that fully covered and partly covered, are you getting my point? What is fully covered and partly covered? The entire district is PESA. Some places, few blocks, few GPs are PESA, not the entire district. Because as per the 5th schedule, those areas of defined as a Panchayati Raj institution, if that has more than 50% tribal population staying over there, then that is declared as a PESA, and that power is not with the state government. That power is only vested with whom? Not even central government. That power is only vested with the President of India. That's the President of India. Or else, so in Odisha, there are a lot of debates also there. There are many states. Anyway, so this is what is the PESA. Some are the fully, some are the partly. And there are, you can see that there are 9 or 11 states which are PESA in the country. Next. from all India perspective, I'll come to our state because many of you are from the other states. So we have 51,000 some villages, but habitable villages comes to around 50,926. And we have 6,798 Gram Panchayat. We have 30 Jilla Parishad, and we have more than 1 lakh elected representatives. And one of the beauty of Odisha rural governance, you should know about it. We have two uniqueness in the country, which is not yet with any Panchayati Raj structure across the country. One is that the second executive leader of all our three-tier Panchayati Raj institution is reserved in favor of women. If the Sarpanch is a male, woman is a Naib Sarpanch. If male is a chairperson, the chairperson of Panchayat Samiti or Jilla Parishad, then the vice chairperson or vice president of ZP is reserved in favor of women, but not the vice versa. So we have this uniqueness which is not there in the country anywhere. One more thing, the 30% reservation, what we talked about the 73rd constitutional amendment, 33% reservation. Odisha, when I was talking to you about Biju Patnaik, in 1990, we had 33% reservation prior to 73rd constitutional amendment. Prior to 73rd constitutional amendment, we have this provision also. The second post is always reserved in favor of women. Third, we have also one very debatable point. Many people debate in Odisha that the Sarpanch or election to the office of Sarpanch or Jilla Parishad president or the chairperson cannot be made admissible if you have more than 2 child. This is quite debatable. But many states, there are 9 states who had this. But out of 9 states, 6 states has already abolished this thing. Because this is an infringement or this is an violation of many gender laws and charters of the union government, charters of the national level, human rights charters and your population rights charter, your personal rights charter. So we have this now. So, but the beauty is that we had this women empowerment provisioning much more prior to 73rd. Then also another speciality of our rural governance, which I would like to share, that we have thought of going more down below the revenue village, down below the panchayat, and that is to beyond the Gram Sabha, we have another Sabha which is known as Palli Sabha. Palli Sabha is not Ward Sabha. What is Palli Sabha then? What is Palli Sabha then? It's the revenue village Sabha. For example, I can make it very clear. Madhupur is a Gram Panchayat. There are 3 revenue villages. In that 3 revenue villages, Haripur, Jadupur, Sukhapur. In that, Madhupur is the GP. Within Madhupur, there are 3 revenue villages. Haripur, Jadupur, Syampur, for example. So, Madhupur Panchayat, it has got 17 ward members. These 17 ward members are from which places? These 3 revenue villages. So, there will be 1 Gram Sabha. So, how many Palli Sabha will be there? 3. So, Palli Sabha is not Ward Sabha. Very many people confuse that Palli Sabha is Ward Sabha. In Kerala, it is Ward. In Karnataka, it is what? But Odisha, we have gone one thing. It's a revenue village. We say Palli Sabha. And moreover, we have also election of PESA. Sorry, this number you can correct. It is 2002. I have wrongly written 2012. Kindly correct is instead of 2012, it should be reworded 2002. So we have 14 Jilla Parishad. That's been less now. 13 Jilla Parishad, 122 intermediate panchayat, and 2099 Gram Panchayat, which are declared as the PESA area. Fine. And as regards to the 243G devolution of power is concerned, we say so. The 21 subject of 11 department has been devolved to the panchayat. We say so. It is not an effective devolution. It's a devolution, but there is a difference between devolution and effective devolution. Am I right or not? Effective devolution means in true spirit. Devolution means कागज में दे दिया. क्या होता है? Real scenario is different. Are all my wifes are with me or not? I know 3 people are sitting over here. They are with me. Can you unmute it?
Can someone unmute and
Yes, sir, we are clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Definitely.
sir, we are
there.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
मैं सोचा कि शायद
Yes, sir.
disconnect हो गई.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
आज SID हॉस्टल में आप लोग को क्या मिलेगा? पनीर बटर मसाला. टुडे मेनू?
पता नहीं सर.
नहीं आज आपको पनीर
पता नहीं,
बटर
सर.
मसाला होगा शायद. इसे वेजिटेरियन डे अंडा मसाला एंड
Thank
पनीर.
you, sir.
ना सुई नहीं. They are all taking food.
Thank you.
I've been told. I told them categorically. Yeah. Fine. Sugar is you love me much. That's the reason why you added more sugar to it. I'm a sugar person. Anyway, I had. Thank God. Anyway, so we'll go next. Yeah, this is what is the evolution. As on today date, we have this election, and these 5 years, every 5 years there is a reorganization of blocks and GPs. So we have it as we started our journey way back in 61 from 2,350 GP to as on today date is 6,798. We started from block number 212 to now 314. And for the district, we have started from 13 to 30. Then I'll tell you the very framework. Since you will be joining at the panchayat level or sorry at the DRDL level, I know after this orientation, many of you will be asked to work with at the district level. You need to know certain things that this entire governing structure at the village level or in the rural area is guided by 3 acts. Odisha Gram Panchayat Act 1964, Odisha Panchayat Samiti Act 1959, and Odisha Jilla Parishad Act 1991. These are the 3 acts, and out of these 3 acts there are many rules. Many rules. These acts and rules, they decide about the governance structure at the rural Odisha. At the GP level, what Sarpanch is supposed to do, how the official will work, what will be the procedure, who and when, how, where, all this work to be taken up, that is very much reflected in that Odisha Gram Panchayat Act and Odisha Gram Panchayat rule also. Like the Narega Act is there, Narega rule is there. Rule has been, rule has been framed to see that the various activities as prescribed is implemented, are implemented. And all have been, these acts were prior to 92. Am I right or not? But all have been again amended after the 73rd Constitutional Amendment and PESA. That means all the conformity activities or the acts or the provisions have been inbuilt and amended into these acts. Clear or not? So, yeah, please. No, I'll tell you one good question. In Odisha, we started 3-tier system way back in 1961. And we continued up to 1967. Fine. So it started during the Biju Babu and continued up to 1967. By that time, the chief minister was Rajendra Narayan Singh Dev. And Rajendra Narayan Singh Dev decided, by that time, government decided that ये दो ठीक है, तो तीन का कोई जरूरत नहीं, ये लोग ज्यादा हमारी पावर में आ जाते हैं. So they decided to get away. They dissolved. No more. So that is the beauty. Now you cannot dissolve. So they decided to have it 2-tier system, and it continued up to 1990. 90 Biju Babu again came back, and he decided that no. उसी time 73rd आया नहीं था. So state government, it's a state law, no? So they decided we will have 3-tier. So that is why Biju Babu is more visionary and statesman than the 73rd constitutional amendment. So that's the reason why Biju Patnaik birthday is celebrated as the Panchayati Raj Divas in Odisha. He's a big figure in that, in the field of. I will rather advise you, you are all, don't make a career out of this YP. Make it a springboard and get into some better places. That should be my wish. So you read one article by Biju Babu, Reluctant to Surrender Power. Way back it was written in 1991. Reluctance to surrender power. That's a wonderful write-up. You can know more about how the political person thinks about a progressive rural development pattern. So anyway, now I'll come to our department where you have been all positioned. Panchayati Raj and drinking water. When I tell about Panchayati Raj, always I think I started with boys to boys class, choice to choice class. Again, my thinking that it's a pro-poor, pro-PRI endeavor. Pro-poor, when you think of governance, always economic development and social justice for whom? Those who have been excluded, those who have not been who have not so far able to access the benefits of the plan periods. Plan fruits, na? हम लोग बोलते हैं ना plan fruit. Narega is a plan fruit. The DUGKY is a plan fruit. So those people who have not access to the benefits and entitlement under different poverty alleviation programs or development program or social benefit program or social welfare program, for them Panchayati Raj is a best platform. That's the reason why pro-poor, pro-PRI Panchayati Raj institutions, it's an effort. And Odisha, I told you that 6,790 Gram Panchayat covering around population of 3.54 crores as per 2011 census. And interestingly, now this all rural governance, when you talk about rural governance in Odisha, we have 3-tier system. So each tier is entitled to develop their own action plan, annual action plan. Gram Panchayat, Intermediate Panchayat and District Panchayat. Whatever the fund or the schemes are being given to them, mandated to them or assigned to them, they are mandated with the responsibility of developing the plan for economic development and social justice. Is it clear? So that is the how we say in the recent past, with 2014 onwards, with the recommendation of Finance Commission grant of the Government of India, the Government of India said that no, fine, scheme-wise plan is there. Suppose tomorrow you are in day NRLM. So Panchayat may have a day NRLM plan. Panchayat has also a labor of budget plan under the Narega. Panchayat has a Finance Commission grant fund under the. The question is that for the Government of India thought that it would be better if there is a holistic plan. Holistic plan, comprehensive and holistic plan. That means whatever the schemes are there, let that plan be put into one framework. But not happening. which is known otherwise as the Gram Panchayat Development Plan. Since 2014, the Government of India has come up with the idea that when you prepare the annual action plan, when you talk about the comprehensive holistic development print to GP, then it has to be Gram Panchayat Development Plan. But somehow it is not much happening across the country. Again, it is in silos, DNRLM, MGNRJ Action Plan, Rurban Action Plan, Finance Commission Grant Plan. There is not, it's not interwoven. So it is not comprehensive. It is not like, I mean, a web like a spider web like things. It's Akla Chalo, Rabindranath Tagore. It's not Saath Chalo. I used to say, नया दौर का एक गाना था ना, साथ ही हाथ बढ़ाना है, एक अकेला थक जाएगा तो मिलकर बोझ उठाना. That is what is community development. That is what is the rural development. But we are still in a Rabindranath mood. Okay, chalo. Anyway, so that is what I was changing the rural lives, what our department focused on, poverty alleviation programs, and also facilitating basic services. What is basic services? Can anybody tell me? What are the 5 basic services? When I talk about basic services, can anybody? I'll take the name. Let's Aparajita.
Aparajita, unmute yourself and tell what are the 5 basic services.
Yes, sir. Food, shelter, livelihood.
Can you increase your
Well,
value?
Hello.
Yeah. It's audible. Tell me.
Yes, sir. Food, shelter, livelihood.
चलो साहिल सिंह बोलो. If you have some other opinion.
Self, cloth and health.
Yeah.
Education.
Education, is it primary or higher secondary?
Primary.
Then what's next? Tell me 5 basic services, most critical.
Food, shelter, clothes.
To health.
Health.
Education and health.
Fine. Any other come who can give me 5? Yeah, tell me. Anybody, I'll take the call from, because I would like to connect myself with the people enjoying their good time at hostel. Please come, somebody, tell me 5 basic services.
Indu Nandana, unmute.
So we can have the other basic services is right to information, then availing transportation, and having democratic rights and legal services to all the people.
Basic services.
Yeah, I'll yeah,
Access to
I'll
digital
give. Yeah, somebody is trying. Please.
access to digital world, like
माँ तो मेरे को मार देगा.
So water supply and electricity supply.
You are new generation girl. I entirely respect you. Now the digital world is our fast breathing line. Yeah. We are all X generation. We can live without oxygen, but not without digital world.
Sir, actually in Corona period,
I entirely agree, Indu, na? I entirely agree. I'll tell you the 5. Falguni, please come up.
So drinking water, food,
Yeah.
education,
I'm not
health.
taking your classes, but you have the liberty to tell me 5 basic services on which the development platform is present day. Architecture is worked out at the GP level, PS level, as well as the Jila Parishad level. The Finance Commission grant is directed for it.
So it's the
Education, health.
food, education, health, basic health services, then your drinking water. And what is the 5th one?
Why? Yeah. Anyway,
Falguni madam.
Ankita, please come.
Ankit,
Ankit. मेरे बिटिया का नाम अंकिता है.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, please come. Ankit.
Sir, the five
Basic services for which the government of India grant is pumped like a big given anytime money by the father when you are in a hostel.
Yes, sir. So it can include agricultural services, one for agricultural services, then for animal husbandry, and for non-farm activities, then for drinking water.
What are the 5 basic services for which the government of India is pumping money like water to the villages or the panchayats? One is, I'll come.
So
First
for,
is primary education. Please note primary education, primary health. Fine. Then health, sanitation. Health and sanitation, primary health and sanitation. Then street lighting, infrastructure, basic infrastructure like sewerage, lighting. Then also, one more is the basic services. They are giving it to the basic services. There are 3 things you have to distinguish, differentiate between basic necessities and basic services. What you are talking, that food, shelter, all these are the basic necessities. When you talk about the basic services, it is related to primary health, primary education, then water and sanitation, then your infrastructure facilities like road connectivity, slums and all this. What is this? Roadside, the sewerage and all these things. And then you're also the basic services, they are focusing more to the livelihood through natural resource management. These are the 5 basic services which Government of India from 14th Finance Commission is focusing. Anyway, so facilitating the basic services. So in Odisha Panchayati Raj Department, where you have been placed or where you will be placed, these institutions are facilitating the implementing the schemes like Manrega. I hope you know Manrega. Then NRLM, National Rural Livelihood Mission Day, NRLM we say. Then third is the PMAY, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin. Then we have your sister concern, Urmas is doing DDU, GKY, DDU, GKY. Then also Odisha, we are also our own scheme like Biju Pakka Ghar Yojana, which has been stopped from this year. Then we have also SBM, Swachh Bharat Mission. And we have also Finance Commission Award, the 15th and 15th Finance Commission, Central Finance Commission, and 5th State Finance Commission. Then we have also Gopabandhu Gramin Yojana, which has been stopped this year. And we have also RGSA, Rashtriya Gram Swaraj Abhiyan, of which SIRD is the implementing agency for building the capacity and capacity and capability development of the elected functionaries and functionaries, including the professionals also. Then we have also in through PR and DW department, we take care of under SBM we take care of 2 important things. One is drinking water, other one is the sanitation. And Urmas is there also for the entrepreneurship development among the rural artisans. Then SIRD, you know, we are taking care of capacity and all these things. Then also we have e-governance, which is also SIRD is implementing partnering institution with the Odisha government. And that is the ensuring transparency, accountability, and entire digital platform of the PR department, especially the rural governance. For example, we have 11 PS, Panchayat Enterprise Suite. For this 11 in Panchayat Enterprise Suite, or even for the Finance Commission, we have GPDP Gram Panchayat Development Plan, and each 6,798 Gram Panchayat where what much of money is being spent and which project, this you can know from this Panchayat Enterprise Suite platform. So you can go to the extent of whether Satpati has an access to a Indira Awas house or not, whether some nalla has been constructed before our house, you can know from the Panchayat Enterprise Suite the expenditure. So this is what, and also digitalization of development for better monitoring and supervision, and also citizen-centric platform through this digital. And I entirely agree that with the present time, the basic services need to be redefined. And what is the first basic services? We should have the 24/7 high-speed digital connectivity. Secondly, we should have a wonderful access to the e-marketing. And our the third basic service is that whatever we give order other than the beyond country, it should be delivered within 24 hours. So these are a bit lighter when I'm sharing, which is perception of my daughter, and you are no equally my daughter like to me. So nothing wrong about it. So this is all. Next. And what is the institutional framework? What I was talking about, you can come from below to the top, Palli Sabha, then Gram Sabha, then Gram Panchayat, then Panchayat Samiti, then DRDA, then Jila Parishad. You see, I have not given arrow mark to the DRDA because DRDA is the executing agency. I have not mentioned about, you see, the block. I have mentioned about the Panchayat Samiti. So Jila Parishad, then Panchayat Samiti, Gram Panchayat. Then this Gram Sabha, Palli Sabha, which actually evolves the things. So these are the 5 important things which decides, and other constitutional bodies are State Election Commission, State Finance Commission, and also District Planning Committee. So this is, and how the two things I was trying to make when I talk about your voice to voiceless, choice to choiceless. So naturally it is a decentralized decision making and planning. Is not it? It's a decentralized. So we say that first of all, any development work in Odisha in rural areas in 6,000 across 6,798 Gram Panchayat, it has to be in the Palli Sabha platform. Yeah.
Someone has raised hand.
Yeah, please.
Shraddhanjali, do you have any question? Shraddhanjali, you raised your hand. Do you have any question?
Yeah, chalo, आगे बढ़ते हैं. Yeah, fine. Chat is related to my presentation or related to sanitation. Yeah, good. Yeah, chalo. So what I try to make a point that there are 2 types of, one is participative democracy, other one is the representative democracy. We just need to see from that perspective. When I talk about the participative democracy, it is Palli Sabha, because you have to participate to raise your voice or reach out the people, or Gram Sabha or Gram Panchayat. But at the representative democracy is what? Intermediate Panchayat and Jila Parishad. Here indirectly they have been elected and they are holding the position over there. That is why I say that representative democracy. So what exactly important? From earlier it was top-down approach. Now it is bottom-up approach. So people usually in Odia used to say that Kali thila Delhi re aji hela Palli re. Kali thila Delhi re aji hela Palli re. Tamane Kali jaha Delhi re utla aji hochi seta Lok Sabha is no more powerful. Palli Sabha is powerful because Palli Sabha decides about the development procedure, development platform, or the agenda for that revenue village. So this is what is the beauty of the governance. The question here is that there is a lot of debate to what extent effectively it is being taken care of. We have a lot of challenges. Well, continue. So this is all, and I have been focusing that convergence mode of late. When you talk about that everything has to be in a comprehensive and holistic, then we have to adopt, we have to adhere, we have to inbuild the convergence strategy into our action plan. Unless until there is no convergence of resources, plans and schemes, resources and schemes. When I talk about resources, human resources, natural resources, financial resources. When I talk about the convergence, convergence of plans as well as the schemes. Then after we can think of an holistic development for the panchayat. Next. Yeah. And there is devolution also. As per the 243G, that 29 subjects of 11th schedule, it's been devolved in Odisha. And it's a matter of debate whether effective devolution or general devolution or namesake devolution. Once you go to field, you can know much better. But as for the Odisha government devolution 2004 is concerned, that officials are accountable to all levels. How somebody is effectively handling it, it depends on the capacity or the leadership of that gentleman. Then all the institutions have to place their plan and schemes for the approval at the appropriate level. At the appropriate level, at the Gram Panchayat plan, at the intermediate, at the Jila Parishad. Then all these elected representatives can visit any office. Nobody can stop them. And they can call for the report.
If there is some plan which needs approval from the chief Parishad and it is not being accepted at the state, will that plan be executed?
Yeah, the question is that when it is accepted, the question
has been approved by the Jila Parishad, but it has not been approved at state.
Suppose I'll tell you two non-negotiable things. Whatever is being decided at the Palli Sabha or the Gram Panchayat or Panchayat Samiti level, any project coming through Palli Sabha, even at the Jila Parishad activities, will emerge from where? Emerge from Palli Sabha. You cannot never change that plan. Nobody, no Supreme Court can even change the plan. If the plan is defective, because the common people don't have that capacity and capability to prepare a plan, what they do, they give the wish list. Wish list, we say. सारे लोगों को खाना मिलना चाहिए, फाइन, बट कैसे मिलेगा? उनके लिए तो स्कीम का जरूरत है, उनके लिए तो स्कीम का जरूरत है, उनको लोगों के पास पहुंचने के लिए तो फंक्शन और फंक्शनरी का जरूरत है, उसके लिए फंड की भी जरूरत है. But any plan which has been planned, approved at the Gram Panchayat level, through Palli Sabha, Gram Sabha routed through, cannot be changed. I'm putting this word changed at any higher level, but can be challenged, and with a reason. Suppose a panchayat decided to have a road connectivity extra to Sarpanch house. Can it be possible? Gram Sabha may also approve it, but will it be? It will not withstand. That is why during the Gram Panchayat development plan, जो new procedure है, उसमें दिया गया कि BDO को, let's see that these particular activities, whatever Panchayat has proposed, we may not change it, but we can scrutiny it. We can have a look. No, this could be taken up under the NREGA. It should not come under this Finance Commission grants, because there is enough dedicated money for that. Don't waste the very critical money over here for this road work. Suppose Panchayat has given suggestion, prescribed and a recommendation. I have given a recommendation for building a community toilet in the village, institutional toilet in the schools. The BDO, if that is given out of Finance Commission grant, the BDO can relook it and see that, no, this could be funded under the Swachh Bharat mission. Why to take the critical fund out of Panchayat to spend that? It can be taken care under a flagship program. Why to unnecessary? Because Finance Commission grant is given you for the betterment of basic services, which cannot be covered through other schemes. Not for, so that you have a discretion of spending your money to meet out the critical gaps not attended. So this is what, and call for report and ensure their presence. Their presence means officials' presence. Then write about to head of department. The Panchayat has been given power. If somebody is not working as a critical functionary at appropriate level, he can write against them, but he cannot take action against them. He can write to their head of office. Suppose tomorrow you have joined a place, Jila Parishad. Here the Jila Parishad, the president, very often you found that you are not in the office. He can visit your office. He cannot fire you, but he can write against you to Director OLM or the collector. This is the man who has not been attending to the. So this much of power has been given. Then casual leave to the CL to the head of office. Then executive officer, collector, ZP, collector, Jila Parishad is the chief executive officer of the Jila Parishad. BDO is the intermediate panchayat. Then PO, Gram Panchayat extension officer, executive officer, jo GP secretary earlier used, he is the EO, executive officer of the panchayat. So these are all. I'll come to the next part of the, this part, these boys can read of their own. I'll come to important structure. You just see there are two. No issue, beta. So I'll tell you about two things. I'll not take more than 5 minutes more. One is obligatory function of the Gram Panchayat and other one is the discretionary function. So because this decides about the architecture of governance. The Sarpanch I have already discussed about the protocol and architecture. If you look into the 29 schedule, 11 schedule, 29 subject, you see these are the function which has been devolved to the Odisha Gram Panchayat by virtue of Odisha Gram Panchayat Act, section 44. Construction, repairs, maintenance and improvement of public streets. Then lighting, watering, cleaning of public streets. Then construction, repair and maintenance of the drain. You just think of this was prepared way back in 1948, further improved in 64. So Panchayat has been doing this work. So this is the reason why if you look into these things, you will find that most important measures preventing and checking of epidemics. Can somebody tell me what I was hitting at? These measures for preventing and checking of epidemics has this particular section is very instrumental in giving some power to Panchayat in the recent past. What is that? What is that? Now what power has been given to Panchayat? Yes, the power of collectorship has been given to them by virtue of this section 44 and by virtue of State Disaster Mitigation Act section 22. So they have been declared as an authority. If you look into the National Disaster Mitigation Act, it is left to the state government to decide about who will be the authority in a time of disaster, whether epidemics or pandemic, who will be the authority? Authority means the person who will take the call. As per our State Disaster Mitigation Act, it is the collector and ADM and sub-collector. Beyond that, no power has been given to anybody. So first time in the history of India, Odisha, governance history, by virtue of this section, by virtue of that power, state government took a special decision. The authority power is being given to Sarpanch for the containment and management of COVID-19, the power of authority. So what is that power of authority? Earlier it was with whom I told you? Collector, ADM or sub-collector. So popularly people used to say that collector power has been given, but it is not collector power. It is the collector's authority with respect to containment and management of COVID-19. Not for Indira Awas, not for other beneficiary, but they started writing for Indira Awas also. We have the power. We have power. Collector has the discretionary power of giving 5%. Yes, we are now collector, we can give also. Anyway, that's a good sign, very good sign. So these are the obligatory and these are the discretionary. If you look into the section 15. सेक्शन 45 को आप देखेंगे तो प्लांटेशन, मेंटेनेंस ऑफ विलेज फॉरेस्ट, मैनेजमेंट ऑफ स्लटर हाउस, कोऑपरेटिव मैनेजमेंट, एस्टैब्लिशमेंट ऑफ चैरिटी. यहाँ से आप सेक्शन 44, 45 को इफ यू हैव ए वेरी क्लोज appraisal analysis, you will find that the rural governance development is in and around it. So this is what exactly. Then I'll be failing in my duty if I don't tell you about the PESA, something special. That in scheduled area, what I was talking about, the panchayat has been given some more power. What is that? ये जो approval of plan, program, project, and all these are there in our general area as well as in. But there, what is most important? One is the management and ownership of minor forest produce. That says only the Gram Sabha can take the call. In the minor forest produce, it is the primary gatherer who will take the call. The local price will be fixed by the local panchayat. And interestingly, as for the PESA, it is again the in scheduled area, PESA area, the sarpanches, chairperson, and Jila Parishad, the president, necessarily have to be from scheduled tribe. Non-scheduled tribe are not been permitted. Fine. Even 25, whatever there is no rotation. Only rotation regarding the male, female, but not about the, tribal and non-tribal. Only tribal. Clear? If you look into, for example, I'll tell you one example of Nilgiri block of Baleshwar. Nilgiri block of Baleshwar, which is a tribal dominated. In that Nilgiri, there is a panchayat name as Gurundia, for example. If you look into up to 2002, there are 20 elections. Every time out of 20, you will find that minimum 18 times a non-tribal has been elected as Sarpanch. But after 2002, till that, no space for the non-tribal. Because non-tribal is the biggest handicap to development in tribal area. Yeah. Yeah.
So how does the convergence happen?
Yeah, I'll tell you, the question is that when you talk about this clan-based or the community racial-based leadership or the formal leadership, you are talking about traditional community leadership. In Odisha, if you look into the Constitution of Government of India, this is only limited to 6 scheduled area states, not to the Odisha. Odisha is under the 5th scheduled area. It is the Hill Council in Assam, Nagaland, where they have Village Development Council, where the tribal leader, traditional tribal leader or clan leader is the leader. And secondly, your point is very valid. There is also conflict of interest. Even you might have come across the situation where in villages there are many leaders who are not even the sarpanches, but they are more powerful and more acceptable than the sarpanch. Am I right or not? These are the traditional leaders. But in the eyes of Constitution, it is the sarpanch who is the authority. For example, you might have come across many places. I believe in making the kings, not in becoming the kings. You understand better. We are kingmaker. So those group is a kingmaker group. Yes, mera blessing nahi hoga to. For example, what is the caste vote in UP or many places? Caste and this religion, whatever this is something the same line. The tribal leaders, you are absolutely right. But as for the constitutional framework is concerned, it is the tribal who has to be elected. If a traditional leader become fine, the development will be much more better. If there is a conflict interest between the sarpanch who is a tribal as well as a permanent leader, वहाँ भी काम नहीं होता है. Second is that regarding the enforcement of and prohibition and sale of intoxicant, जो दारू या गंजा चरस, इसका जो लाइसेंस रिन्यूअल का पावर इन ट्राइबल एरिया इट इज गिवन ओनली टू पंचायत, नॉट इन नॉन ट्राइबल एरिया. It is without any power, without the consultation and approval of Gram Sabha or Gram Panchayat. No new intoxicant shops can be opened. No, I mean, in IMFL or country liquor shop can be renewed or the license could be given. This is the special power. Then third is that Mohajani Karwar. Unless until you are not registered with the panchayat, you cannot do the money lending business. So abolition of money lending. And tribal land ownership. Only panchayat, even if it is your personal land. Suppose what's your good name? Ankita. Ankita has 5 acres of land in tribal area. 5 acres of unirrigated land. And Ankita father wanted to dispose it for the higher study of Ankita. And your father is a tribal. And you have 5 acres of unirrigated land. Your father cannot sell it, your property. Cannot sell it to any non-tribal. Or even cannot sell it to a tribal without the permission. So tribals are protesting against it. Because whenever there is a land alienation, land development, ownership transfer, it is mostly the non-tribal has benefited out of it. That is why under the PESA Act in tribal area, even the land ownership, even for development work, what became Vedant issue? What became Kasipur issue? What became the Kerala Perrier Coca-Cola factory issue? What became the Karnataka mineral mines issue? It is the tribal people by virtue of PESA Act challenged it and they own it in the Supreme Court. It is the 12 villages in Rayagada and Kalahandi district who decided the fate of Vedant in spite of state government clearance. They own it in the Supreme Court. It is 12 Gram Panchayat. It is Sarkar said that we have done Gram Sabha. But Sarkar Gram Sabha in Odisha is not the PESA Gram Sabha in as per the Act. PESA means you can go up to the hamlet level by virtue of one single tribal group or dialect or the community feeling you should have. So we said there are 5 revenue villages. We have 5 Gram Sabha has cleared, but Bharat Sarkar said no, there are 12. Clear it in that 12, you will get the land ownership. That failed. So this is how special power. Then control of village market, because village market is the gateway to all, what you say, gateway to all odds of the social. Village markets most powerful place, जो हार्ड बोलते हैं ना, वहीं सारी इकोनॉमी, पॉलिटिकल, सोशल, कल्चरल, everything has been decided there about the tribal people. If you have ever been to any tribal, and Tujapur campus might have done it, IFMS campus might have done it. I remember I had the personal exposure to tribal heart in the most interior part of the country. To be very specific about the Chitrakoot, I stayed there for a long time. Kalahandi, Lanjigad, as well as the Thamul, Rampur, Koraput, that Kutiakan. Oh, I have come across, even in Gujarat, even in Karnataka and Kerala. In 1990 also, with a matchbox, people have purchased in a group when I was accompanying for a PRA exercise along with the Amitabh when Amitabh Ghosh of the development alternative, and I came to know that with one matchbox packet of 10, 3 chicken has been purchased, exchange. It's a butter. With one bottle of the then time of 750 milliliter of rum, the village people have purchased 1 quintal of rice, finest quality rice. Because marketplace is the place where everything is decided in tribal area. That is why panchayat was given the क्या वो market में sale होगा क्या नहीं होगा, किसी को allow किया जाएगा, because that's the place gateway through which the culture of the local area is affected. the भारत सरकार का खुद का हिसाब था कि ये जो कल्चरल हेरिटेज को, ट्राइबल ऑटोनॉमी को, ट्राइबल रिलीजन को, ट्राइबल आर्ट ऑफ लिविंग को बचाना है. That's the reason why PESA was there. Then also control of village, then management of water bodies also, then minor mineral, इसका renewal, इसका license भी पंचायत के पास है PESA area में. Somewhere it is effective, somewhere it is not effective. It all depends, because इसके साथ जोड़ा है क्या 243G, state government by appropriate level, and may is left to my discretion. I'm state, हमको चाहिए या नहीं चाहिए. So this is the Panchayat Samiti. I need not have to go for it. I hope I'll go to the challenges part. इसमें है क्या? नहीं. I'm sorry, the presentation is relating to this one. And regarding the district planning, regarding the district, go next, previous. Yeah, no, here. Yeah, I was talking about women empower. This is something which is previous. Yeah. So what I was talking about, that special power to women, that 1/3 reservation for women. Besides that, that mandatory provision of reservation of women leader at Gram Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti, Jila Parishad for the Naib Sarpanch, Vice President, and another women participation has been guaranteed in 2 institutional arrangement. One is your Palli Sabha, where they say whatever the attendance is there, 1/10 need to be women. Desirable. It is desirable, not mandatory. Yeah, more can be.
Can be also present, but it should.
But you will try that ke 1/10. Suppose what is Palli Sabha? One revenue village, Madhupur. 200 voters are there. Out of 200 voters, 90 are the women. So in that Palli Sabha meeting, if there are 100 people present there, we have to ensure that kam se kam 10 women rehte hain. But the pity thing is that in spite of best SHG movement for which you will be again taking care, suppose we say we have every village is now flooded with more SHG than more people. So सारी SHG से अगर 2 बंदा भी अटेंड करते हैं तो पल्ली सभा का वुमेन पार्टिसिपेंट बढ़ने से, चेंज होने से क्या होता है मालूम है? द एंटायर डेवलपमेंट का ब्लूप्रिंट चेंज हो जाता है. इट बिकम्स मोर रिस्पॉन्सिव, मोर नीड बेस्ड, मोर होलिस्टिक, मोर अटेंडिंग टू द वल्नरेबिलिटी. ये नहीं होता है. एसएचजी वाले बिजी है अपना भात रोटी छतुआ माइक्रो एंटरप्राइज, इसमें गवर्नेंस में आते नहीं. केरला इज ए स्टेट वेयर द वुमेन एसएचजीज आर इंटरवोवन विद द, बिकॉज वहां क्या होता है मालूम है? नेबरहुड ग्रुप होता है, एंड नेबरहुड ग्रुप हैज टू पार्टिसिपेट इन द डेवलपमेंट प्रोसेस. सो देयर नीड टू बी मोर, I mean, you can say there has to be more true marriage between the SHG and PRI. Convergence तो नहीं मैं बोलूँगा, marriage, whole-hearted marriage, थोड़ा bonding थोड़ा ज़्यादा strong होना चाहिए. 1/10, and ग्राम सभा में 1/3 is mandatory. सपोज 600 वोटर हैं ग्राम सभा को, उसमें 1/3 क्या है? 200 से 1/3 मिनिमम 70 should be women. It's mandatory. दुख का विषय है, आते नहीं. दुख का विषय है कोई, तो जब तक ये वुमेन हो या वनरेबल सेक्शन किसको बोलते हैं, चॉइसलेस किसको बोलते हैं, ट्राइबल पीपल, पुअर पीपल, पुअर आर हु, पुअर आर आल्सो वुमेन, पुअर आर आल्सो चिल्ड्रन, पुअर आर आल्सो ओल्ड एज पीपल, पुअर आर आल्सो SC STs. There, unless until these people don't participate, development का format अलग हो जाएगा. So that is the reason why we, though the government have made a lot of provisions over there, but our ecosystem, our social milieu itself is different. Anyway, I hope I should stay here. So I just tried to give you, and regarding the presentation 2, maybe one more day I'll be meeting you people so that the part 2 could be discussed about it. Now I'm available for another 10 minutes for any questions from your side.